Fasting?
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously, as we mentioned, less calories you're consuming, right, on that day. From a mental standpoint, I think there's a lot of benefits as well.
Okay.
I think you can then cue into your real hunger hormones, because a lot of people eat out of boredom and just habit, really.
Yep.
And I think when you fast, you go through these waves, right? So I think you would have experienced it. You go through a wave where you're starving, and then you get through that, and then you're fine, and then you might go through another wave. And they're your true kind of hunger cue. And then you get to know your body a little bit better, and you get to know when you're truly hungry rather than eating out of habit and eating out of boredom.
Matt Pendleton, online coach, nutritionist.
All right, everybody, we have the privilege of having Matt Pendleton here. And Matt is a good friend of mine. I've known him for a few years. And as you can see from his physique, he's the fittest man that I know. And Matt's the founder of 40 Functional, which helps people over 40 stay fit, eat healthy, have good habits. And today I want to pick Matt's brain on how he keeps fit, what his diet and exercise looks like, his habits and daily routines, so that I can be as fit as him. So Matt, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Will.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Let's chat. So.
Yeah. Man, I got to start by asking you, how old are you now?
42.
42.
So 43 in February.
Yeah, wow. Okay. Yeah. And how much do you weigh, and what's your body fat percentage?
I haven't measured body fat for a while, but sitting at about 78 kilos now.
Okay.
So most of my life, I was actually, when I played rugby and everything, I was sitting more about 82 to 84.
Okay.
And just dropped down a little bit over the years. We'll get into that, the reasons why and stuff like that. But body fat, I don't know, I'm probably in the single digits, I'd say. But between that 8 to 10%, I'd say, somewhere around there. So,
okay.
But I haven't measured for a long time. So.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you look it. I mean, we'll put up some photos of you and video of you that you've posted on Facebook, and you look shredded. You look shredded.
Thank you.
And I'm seeing you doing backflips at the splits. You're doing like one-handed push-ups, and you're doing handstand push-ups. Like, how have you been able to keep up with all of that?
Yeah, it's funny because I did a lot of that when I was young, right? In my teens and things like that, and then. As a lot of us do, you let it all go, and I probably only got that back in the last, say, 5 years or so.
Yeah, what's changed?
I don't think I'd attempted it, to be honest. But obviously, gradually built that up, handstands and things like that. And I think it's confidence more than anything. Doing those kind of, if you've already had it, that is, when you're young. So it's just getting it back. It was slow, the transition, getting it back, and I think then just confidence with trying some of these things. But yeah, I'm very careful and diligent with my training, keeping, a balanced program. So, I do avoid shoulder injuries and knee injuries and things like that. So a lot of prehab and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Because obviously your background with Bachelor of Exercise Science and Food and Nutrition, I mean, imagine that helps as well. Can you tell us about that? And I guess, first of all, why did you go down that route and study all that?
Yeah.
And how has that benefited you now?
Yeah, so I'll start with the exercise science, because that was the first degree I did back in 99. I think I started that straight out of school.
Yep.
So that just came from me being involved in sports my whole life. And I think it even started as young as my dad taking me to the park. And there's some of the memories that I have, some of the earliest memories and best memories, actually. So
yeah, nice.
So I can probably credit him for getting me into staying fit and obviously keeping up that physical kind of aspect. Started there in school. I was always obsessed with training. Then I remember my brother had these bodybuilding photos up on the wall.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
As a young age. And so that got me started with, doing push-ups and things like that at a young age. And I still remember I think it was year 7, I'd already started doing my push-ups. And, and I started, I think I test myself how many I could do, and I started somewhere in the 30s or 40s.
Yeah, geez, wow.
And then what I'd do, I'd add one every day. And I got up, I think it was 118 was my kind of best.
118 push-ups.
That was year 7, and I couldn't replicate that today. But so I started really early, and then I was involved rugby league. So I had a semi-professional kind of career in rugby league up until about the age of 17 or so. Then a few injuries, things like that. End up traveling. Still worked in a gym in London, so I was always involved somehow.
Yep.
And then, so straight out of school, I should mention, I did the exercise science degree.
Yep.
Then I travelled after that.
Yep.
And then came back doing one-on-one sessions, worked in schools in strength and conditioning. And then I just had a real passion for nutrition at the same time. And probably, what year was it? So COVID actually made me think about doing another degree. I hadn't even considered it. And then because now there's so many online options and everything like that, so decided during COVID to actually go back and do a 3-year degree in food and nutrition.
Yeah, wow.
And so it's just real passion of mine. I think a lot of it I already knew, to be honest. But that academic writing and stuff was a bit of a learning curve, and there was some things I learned, of course.
Yeah.
But so those two things combined, or those two degrees combined, definitely helped me with my clients and things like that.
Yeah, I imagine those are one of many reasons why clients want to come see you, because of your of your training, of your degrees. But I think when clients see you, I mean, physically, that's kind of what they want, right? I mean, you're like a walking billboard of your business, right?
Yes. So it's always good if you can walk the talk and.
100%. So tell me about your training program. What does your typical week look like? Yeah,
so I've leaned into these days. I want to try and be good at a bit of everything, right?
Yeah.
So I don't really specialize. So I mean, I kind of regret it in a way, not doing like a strength phase and trying to increase my deadlift and squats and things. So what I'll do typically, I'll do 2 upper body days, 2 lower body days, and then I'll do 1 circuit, which is more body weight type, and then another day where I'm actually doing sprints, which was this morning. So
right, okay. So walk me through that. So Monday you do upper body.
Yeah, so Monday
weights.
usually legs. So I'll get
legs.
First thing in the week, get them out of the way, and just a really good way to start your week.
What do you do in legs?
Yeah, so on a Monday, if I was going to do, so that'd be at my heavier session, right? So.
Okay. You do squats?
And I've got a garage gym, by the way, so it makes it a lot easier. So I just walk downstairs and I'm straight into it. And I found compared to, I used to walk to the gym and that was 15, 20 minutes. So now that 15, 20 minutes has been filled in with a lot of prehab and core and things like that. So probably another reason why I'm able to do some of the stuff I can do at this age as well. So that's really helped. I neglected that for years as well. So Monday would be legs. So typical session, I'll take you right through it actually.
Just
we've got time, I think.
Yeah, let's do it.
So that'd be squat and deadlifts. And I rotate. So I'll go 1 week heavy squats and lighter kind of reps for deadlifts.
Okay.
And then the next week I'll go heavy deadlifts and kind of
squats.
Yeah. So So let's an example. I would go 5 sets of 5 on the squat.
Yep.
Do you want weights or anything, or do you?
No, but what sort of squats you do?
Back squats.
Back squats. Back squats.
Yeah.
Do you use your kettlebell squats or like?
No, it's all barbell for that day.
Yeah.
For that day anyway.
Okay,
so it's on the Monday. So I'll go 5 sets of 5. In between that, I like to superset everything, so I won't rest at all.
Okay.
So
I'll
pretty much just go from the bar, do my warm up sets, of course. 5 5s. In between that, I come over. I do. Nordic curls. So I have a strap to the bench where I can do Nordic curls. And for the listeners who don't know that, that's kind of where you're sitting on the bench on your knees and you have your feet strapped behind you and you'll just come forward, lean forward as far as you can and then pull yourself back using your hamstrings. So,
and what does that work?
Hamstrings. So
hamstrings,
hamstring glutes. So I'll always superset opposing body parts like that. So they don't really affect each other in the lifts. The purest powerlifters will say it does, of course, and they'll be resting for 3 to 5 minutes kind of thing. And that's, as I mentioned before, I want to be good at a bit of everything and get, a little bit of conditioning out of the workout, a little bit of hypertrophy as well. So that's why I do it anyway. I'll do that, 5 5s on that, 5 15s on the Nordics.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's all supersetted. Then I like to always do something heavy. So I'll test myself and go 5 singles on the squats.
Okay.
And just building up by 5, 10 kilos each one until I hit kind of my max. I have no spot, by the way, so it's
Okay.
living on the edge when I do this
geez.
stuff. yeah, haven't failed yet. I think that's a big reason why, because I don't have a spot. I can't fail, basically.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. So that's squats and the Nordics, and then I will move on and I will do some Romanian deadlifts, and I might go 4 sets of anywhere between 6 to 10 kind of reps.
Okay.
And in between that, I'll do more of a gymnastic movement. They're called kneelings. So they're the opposite of Nordics, what I just mentioned.
Yes,
so
I've seen them. Yes,
yeah, like a leg
I see
extension.
videos. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so you
okay.
kind of sit on the ground. It's more for the quads. So I'm working the hamstrings with the deadlifts, and then the quads with those. So it's opposing muscle groups again.
Yep. Okay.
We'll get that done. Now I'm trying to think. So that's 4 sets of those.
Yep.
Supersetted. Then I'll move on and I will do. So I'll start with some core. So I'll do some window washers. I don't know if you're familiar with those, where you hold the bar and legs come across. Yeah, and that's supersetted with jump squats. I go 5 sets of 5 jump squats.
Okay.
And just throw the core in between that and some back extension stuff. Prehab stuff, really.
Yep.
And then I'll do my Garra's only about 5 meters long, but I'll do running high knees. So I'll just high knees along there. So probably 5 sets of that, 5 sets of butt kicks.
Yep.
I know this is being very specific, but
this is great. Right, take notes.
I'll do some duck walks after that. So
Yep.
just 1 set, big set of that,
Yep.
and then I like to do some backward running as well. So again, I've only got 5 meters, but I'll back pedal. Kind of got to be careful not to run into the garage door, touch the door, back pedal again the other way, back pedal,
I heard that's really good to strengthen your knees.
Yeah. So that's that kind of knees over toes you may have heard of.
Yes.
You got to be careful not to do it too much though. So
why is that?
I find backpedaling's okay. There's another exercise where you deliberately, like sissy squats, where you might hold onto something and allow your knees to kind of drive right forward.
Yeah.
I was doing those kind of twice a week, and once a week originally. Then I went to twice, and I started getting a bit of tendonitis in both knees actually. So
right, okay.
I've actually got that a little bit now. So if you had to see me down the lobby earlier, I was kind of stretching my quads out, and but it comes and goes.
Okay.
So yeah, I battle injuries like everyone else, and aches and pains. I've got a bit of golfer's elbow on the inside, but I manage it really well because I'm a lot of stretching and stuff like that. So So that'd be a Monday. I won't go into too much details on the other days, the Tuesday would be heavy upper body. So I've gone heavy lower, heavy upper.
Okay.
And that involved things like, it'd be similar, like 5-5s with supersets, but military press, weighted chins, rows, bench presses, dumbbells and barbells. I rotate that fortnightly kind of thing or weekly. And then I always finish that with, I'll do arms, I'll do shoulders, and then I'll finish that with burpees. So I'll probably do burpees 4 to 5 times a week.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I do kind of love-hate relationship with those.
Most of us have that.
Yeah, that's right. So that's heavy upper body, and then I'll go into Wednesday. There'll be more prehabby stuff and some plyometric kind of work for the legs and higher rep kind of work.
Is that the days you do sprints?
No, separate day.
Okay, separate day.
So more hypertrophy, but I always do high knees and things at the end of that. So I'll do a lot of Cossack squats, a lot of lateral movements. So I'd like to keep that well-balanced program. So, so if I go to the park and I'm running around with the kids, I don't tear a groin muscle or adductors or tear an ACL or something like that. So I do like to say like that. And then that's the lower body kind of for reps. And then Thursday's more body weight, which you were mentioning before, the handstand push-ups and reps for push-up. For chin-ups, rows and heaps of push-ups and that kind of work. And arms, obviously, I finish with burpees. I'll do cartwheels as well as another
I've seen you do
finisher.
That. Okay.
So I'll just go backwards and forwards. I'll just rotate one way, rotate the other way, and just keep. I don't know if I made that up, but there's no name for it.
Sounds like fun.
That's half of it, right? So you want to feel like you're still young and. Because that's stuff I used to do when I was young, right? Cartwheels and stuff like that.
That's right.
And bending backwards. And so I try and keep those movements. And then Friday was, or today was sprints down the park. So as you get older, caution, you have to have a really good warm-up. I do advise, the warm-up's usually longer than the actual session itself. So I'll spend a bit of time in the garage doing a little bit of core kind of L-sits and stuff, just to get that compression through the hip flexors as well. I'll do a little bit of core. I'll do some handstands. I'll do just to warm up everything, the full body. And then I'll skip before I even run. So probably do about 10 to 15 minutes of skipping, usually with burpees in between again. And so I'm a little bit fatigued when I get into the sprints, which is probably a good thing. So the reason I say that is if you go in and I go as hard as I can straight away and I'm at full capacity, maybe more likely to actually tear a muscle, especially I'm doing them in the morning, first thing kind of thing.
Yep.
So I've just pre-fatigued that little bit. So I'm probably not hitting my 100% kind of pace when I actually get in.
Okay.
But not to the point where I don't feel fatigued, but I think I've just taken the edge off kind of thing.
Okay.
It's like doing hill sprints compared to running on a flat. So hills, you've got less chance of actually injuring yourself because you're not hitting that top velocity kind of thing.
Okay, interesting.
So I'm probably not quite hitting that top velocity when I do it.
Yep.
And I do ease into it. So this morning I did 8 sets of 50, 50 meters.
Yep.
Actually, it was 10 sets this morning. So 10 sets of 50.
Yep.
And the first couple are a little bit slow, a little bit rusty. And then I try and hit what I think my max pace is on the day.
Yep.
I'll do that. And then I'll do some backward running again. So I'll do sprints 6 times 50 backwards.
Yep.
Again, for that knee health.
Yep.
And that usually blows the quads up as well.
Yeah.
And then I'll do some shuttle runs where I'm just running up, touching a line, backpedaling.
Yep.
And that's just something I've done in my rugby league days and stuff. So I think it has benefits for the knees as well, obviously, with the backpedaling and that kind of gasses you as well. So it's my kind of conditioning. I don't do a lot of traditional conditioning. Most of it's tied up with kind of in the session itself as a finisher kind of thing. So 5-10 minute finishes.
Yep.
Saturday off, so tomorrow's off.
Okay.
I don't look forward to off days, to be honest. Rest days,
No.
not my favourite. No, I don't feel myself. So I don't rest totally. I get up and I'll still do. I should mention I always do a dynamic warm up before. That's every morning, non-negotiable.
Yep.
So first thing I do.
Yep.
Non-negotiable. I'll do that.
Yep.
So I'll still do that tomorrow, and even my day off. And usually I do a little bit of core things I've missed during the week. They've been a bit busier. A little bit of core.
Active rest is what David Goggins call it, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's important. So those days I'm typically out at the kids' sports anyway, and so there's usually like one of my sons is playing, and I'll be throwing the ball around with the other boy, and so I'm still staying active on those days, and I don't feel myself otherwise. If I totally rest and do nothing, I just brain fog and I'm like a different person. So,
Well, I mean, because exercise is so embedded in your day-to-day routine.
Yeah.
If you miss it, it's like brushing your teeth.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You just don't feel the same.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's hard when I travel even because, usually I will have with, if you're going different time zones and on planes and things, I'll have a few days off as well.
Yep.
Usually like 3 to 5 days kind of thing on the trip over.
Yep.
Actually, I lie, probably not 5. I don't think I'll have that ever in the last 20 years. But I find that really hard. I don't know. Yeah, like you said, it's just so ingrained. I think just part of who I am, what I do kind of thing. So.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. Just breaking that routine is very, very, it's very, very difficult to adjust. But I want to talk about your nutrition because obviously, it sounds like you've got your exercise down packed and you're really disciplined about it, and you haven't missed more than a few days without doing a workout. So that's amazing, and it shows shows in your body, and shows your energy level.
I'd say I haven't missed 15 years. I wouldn't have missed a planned workout. I'd say a planned workout. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's discipline, and I want to talk about discipline in a second. But I'm really interested on your nutrition.
Yeah, because I mean, exercise only gets you so far.
Yeah.
But to look the way you're looking in single digit, body fat percentage, I'd imagine a lot of it's got to do with nutrition. So can you
100%,
tell me about your diet?
Yeah, so it's pretty basic, to be honest. So I don't eat any grains and wheat and stuff like that.
Okay, so no
pretty much gluten-free.
Yeah, gluten-free. So no rice, no noodles, no pasta.
I'll have a little bit of rice occasionally. A little bit of rice after training.
Rice.
It'll always be around training times.
Okay.
Usually just white rice.
Okay.
So I need a quick kind of carb fix. But most of my carbs, they come from sweet potatoes. So pretty much all my carbs.
Okay.
So sweet potatoes.
Yep.
I'll tell you, so the basic food, it's pretty easy. There's only a few foods I eat, really. So kangaroo is a bit of a staple for me as well.
Okay.
And just because it's lean and good protein source.
Yep.
And I'll get into why I try and eat quite low saturated fat too. I'll get into that in a minute. But so the kangaroo, chicken breasts, I'll have quite a lot of. I will have a lot of salmon as well. So usually canned, I will have just because you can get wild caught salmon in the can and a little bit cheaper, obviously.
Yep.
So that's that. That's the protein sources and veggies. Pretty much everything. I don't count them under my kind of calories for the day. So I'll have unlimited kind of thing.
Okay.
So basically, what I'll do if it's not around training times, I will load the plate with veggies and a protein source.
Yep.
All those I just mentioned.
Yep.
And then if it's around training, I'll do the same, but I'll sub out some of those veggies and add sweet potato, basically. And that's it's pretty basic.
So it's high protein, low carb sort of diet.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah. And the carbs I am having are always around training times as well.
Yeah.
I should state I do have a cheat meal kind of once a week, which probably a cheat day, maybe I should call it.
Cheat day.
But that probably gets my carbs for the whole week. It would be someone's like weekly total kind of thing. So I'm probably hitting occasionally 10,000 calories on that day. So it's not a good thing. I'm not proud of it.
Okay.
But it's not something I even feel like I need. I get such a good buzz and have a really good time with the boys and stuff on that day. And so I have a fair bit of caffeine on that day too, and heaps of sugar, and not proud of it at all. But
I think it's important to have a cheat day or a cheat meal because otherwise it becomes very unsustainable for most people. I mean, for someone like yourself who's doing it for 15, 20 years, right? That's embedded into your routine already. But people who are regular Joes, like myself, who, I still train, 2-3 times a week, and I try to eat healthy. But if you're asking me to stay on a lean diet with low carb and just veggies, it's very, very difficult to sustain. Yeah. So having that, cheat meal, cheat day, I think is really good to make things sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, and I'm glad someone like yourself is also doing it too.
Yeah. Again, I'm not saying you should do what I do though. Don't go as far as I do anyway. But cheat meal, we'll call it. Let's call it that.
Yeah, cheat meal.
I agree though. Yeah, for mental and physical kind of reasons, I think it's
important.
Yeah. So especially if you're on a low carb diet and you're kind of pushing your training all week. Yep. It does down-regulate some of those thyroid hormones and things like that. So the cheat meal can actually, I'm not advocating them, but it can actually raise those thyroid hormones. They're dropping, and can kind of reset that metabolism a little bit because it adjusts to what you're doing, right? So if you're putting in less calories, that metabolism can slow down a little bit. So there are benefits of it as well.
Yeah,
just don't go too far with it. Yeah.
So how many meals do you have a day?
Yeah, so I'll typically, on a training day, on the weights days, I'll have, if you're counting a protein shake in the morning, don't really count that, but let's say that. Yep. But then apart from that, just 3 meals. So I'll just have breakfast, lunch and dinner. Okay. So I've gone through all types of diets and I've tried different frequencies of eating and eating, 6 times a day. And the problem, when I was doing that, the 6 times a day, I end up looking at the clock all day. I was just like, okay, where's my next meal? And I was actually hungrier. So
because you're constantly feeding your body.
Yeah, it works for some people though. Don't get me wrong. I have clients do it. But I just found for me, and I like to feel a little bit full after each meal, a little bit bloated kind of thing after each meal. So I've got quite a big appetite as well, so I can put away a lot of food. So I have to, I really load the plate up. So if you saw the meals I was having, you'd probably be shocked at the actual amount of volume in the meals. But again, it's all healthy. It's all protein and calorie-wise, I'm probably low. Like I'm probably, for the week, I reckon I'm actually under eating and then making up for it with that.
With the cheat meal.
With the cheat meal. Yeah, which, again, probably not the best way to do it, but that's how I do it anyway. Yeah, so is that part, so you're having 3 meals a day. Yeah. And then do you have set time for it? So are you intermittent fasting between that? Yeah, so in between the meals, you mean? Or in between?
Or during the day?
So my time, roughly, I'll train 5 till 6, roughly, and I'll eat between 6 and 6:30 breakfast. Okay. And I've already had a protein shake before that training. Yep. And then I would typically have lunch around midday. Yep. It depends on the work schedule, but anywhere between 11 and 1 kind of thing. Yep. And then dinner's early. So I'll have dinner roughly 4 o'clock usually. Okay. Yeah. Okay, wow. Okay. Yeah, even 4 to 5 between there somewhere. Yeah. I just found that works better for me. And in terms of sleep and things like that. So I do go to bed quite early as well.
What time do you sleep?
So I'll be in bed between 8 and 8:30 usually most nights. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're in bed 8:30. Yeah. And then you get up, 4:30?
4 naturally. Okay. Yeah. Body's just bang, just up.
Wow.
No alarm. I haven't set an alarm for years and years.
Well, I suppose, because if you're sleeping at 8:30.
Yeah, I'm getting my 8 hours.
You're getting 8 hours in. Okay.
Exactly.
So you're 8 hours sleep. Yeah. So you get up and then you start training at 5. Yeah. And then you have your breakfast after training, so around 6:30, and then you have your lunch around midday, depending on your schedule, and then you have an early dinner about 4. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, that'd be a typical day.
That's a typical day.
That's a typical day. And then so once a week, so I don't drink much caffeine, right? So I'll have coffee. I've settled into 3 times a week at the moment. And
Okay.
what I'll do, it used to be 2. So what I'll do, one of those weekdays, I'll have a coffee. And on that day, I don't actually eat. I just don't I find when I have caffeine, it just takes my appetite away. The breakfast, that is.
Hang on. So you're having caffeine on in the morning.
Yeah.
And then you don't eat.
Sorry, I won't eat till lunchtime. I'll skip breakfast.
Right,
so I was going to get to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll skip breakfast on that day, and then just have 2 larger meals. I just find then it reduces my calories for that day 100%. So that intermittent fasting, I just find fitting in that volume of food in 2 meals as compared to 3 is really hard. So, and I think that's the magic of intermittent fasting. I don't know if it's in the actual fast itself. I think it just reduces your calories naturally because
I think
struggle.
I think so because you're not. I think first of all, from my understanding, is because you're time restricting, your tendency to eat reduces, obviously, and then I think secondly, you're starting to tap into your glycogen reserves, and you're kind of like expanding that.
Yeah, I agree.
From what I know. So your typical day, you're fasting pretty much from around 4:30 to 6:30. So that's about
or they have the protein shake though. It's probably more like 12 hours. I'd say.
So about 12-hour fast. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then once a week you have
3 times a week. I'll do a fast actually.
3 times a week. Sorry.
So So Saturday again, I'll have caffeine.
Yeah.
Because I don't train either, so I just find I don't have to fuel myself either with food for breakfast.
Yep.
And so that'll take me through to lunchtime. So I'll go from dinner tonight 4 till
20-hour
midday.
Fast. Yep.
Yeah, so it's quite a lot.
20-hour fast. Okay.
Yeah, and then even Sundays, if I do have that cheat meal around lunchtime, then I typically don't eat till either the next morning. Sometimes I go a whole day. I'll go 24 hours kind of thing. So,
so hang on. So, do you pre-plan your fasts? Or you just go on the whim?
Yeah, I do. Definitely the 2 a week. The Sunday one, though, I just wake up on Monday, train, do a heavy leg session, see how I feel. If I'm hungry, then I'll have it. If I'm not hungry, I don't have it. But lately I've been hungry. So I think when I get a little bit leaner, I'm actually typically hungrier too. So it drives up those hunger hormones and ghrelin and stuff like that. So definitely wake up hungry lately anyway. So.
Can we talk about that schedule for a second? Because what I do is I do an 18-6 fast every single day.
Okay.
So I eat between basically 12 noon to 6.
Yep.
And then on the weekends, if I am up for it, I might do a 20 to 24 hour fast.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that I speak with, I think particularly people with white collar jobs, right? They seem to find that 16-8 or 14-10 kind of work really, really well.
Yeah.
And whereas I find you're doing the 12 hours pretty much every single day, and then you'll have the 20 to the 24-hour fast kind of like 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So why is that more beneficial, or is that more beneficial than doing it kind of the way that I'm doing it?
I think pros and cons to each, and I think it rolls around your lifestyle, like you said. So if I'm working and things like that and traveling, and that may change a little bit as well. Mm-hmm. But I tried that as well, the 16 kind of 8, and I think for my training schedule, it didn't work really well. Just if I train in the afternoon, I think it'd be really effective.
Yep.
I think training in the morning at 5 a.m. till 6, and then not eating till midday, questionable whether then am I refilling the body with protein, carbs, things like that.
Yep.
So it's a long time to wait after a meal. Some will say that doesn't matter. I just found, and I was losing weight when I was doing it. So, and that's another, I'm doing a fair bit of fasting now. So I mentioned I was like 82, 84 kilos, kind of in all my life mostly. But I think the fasting's actually brought me down, which I'm not unhappy about. So I enjoy the fasting. I really enjoy the way I feel and when I do it. And
so what are the benefits?
Fasting?
Yeah.
So obviously, as we mentioned, less calories you're consuming, right? On that day. Mm-hmm. There's theories about autophagy and stuff like that. Some will say no, that's called BS on it, kind of thing, where your cells are kind of regenerating and repairing.
Yep.
So that's questionable as well. From a mental standpoint, I think there's a lot of benefits as well.
Okay. What do you mean?
I think you can then cue into your real hunger hormones. So, not hormones, hunger cues. So, because a lot of people eat out of boredom and just habit, really.
Yep.
And I think when you fast, you go through these waves, right? So I think you would have experienced it. You go through a wave where you're starving, and then you get through that, and then you're fine, and then you might go through another wave. And they're your true kind of hunger cue. And then you get to know your body a little bit better, and you get to know when you're truly hungry rather than eating out of habit and eating out of boredom, I suppose.
So why is that important?
What to do that?
To do that, yeah.
Yeah,
to
well,
rely on your
if you're
hunger
eating
cues.
if you're eating out of boredom and habit, that's just mindless eating. You know, you're not mindful of what you're actually putting into your body and things like that. So, and that's control, right? And then you have control. You know, you might go out and by habit, you know, you might be at work and there's chips or whatever on the table. You boom, eat. And again, maybe you're not truly hungry at that stage.
Yeah.
You've just done it out of habit.
You're just snacking away.
Yeah. Whereas when you do the fasting, I think you get to know your body a little bit better, and those hunger cues, and you can really tap in, and then you have control. And then
so it's really training your willpower, so to speak.
Yeah. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
So training your willpower, making sure that you're not putting food in your body when you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Not having that habit of just snacking whenever there's an opportunity or when you're bored.
Yeah.
So just being really disciplined with your food.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think a lot of people do eat. They're not eating mindfully. They'll just, like I said, habit, boredom, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's important.
Yeah. So basically, what you're doing works well for you because it's evident. So the kind of key takeaways, and let me know if I've missed out anything, is that you're sleeping 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
You're working out almost every day of the week. The ones that you're not having a planned workout, you have some sort of active rest. You're eating typically sort of in a 12-hour window, except for 2 or 3 days where you would probably do a 20 to 24-hour fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything else in your routine that you think is contributing to your general health?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, things like meditation or anything like that. Like, what else do you do that you recommend other people above 40 to do or to introduce as part of their daily routine?
Yeah. So a couple of things. I think I walk a lot as well. So we have a 15-minute walk to school for the kids and then 15 back. So I'll do that school drop-off, pick-up kind of thing. So I'm getting an hour of walking incidental there. Great. Often I'll just go down the park and do like an hour of walking around the park while I'm podcasting while I'm listening to podcasts, I should say.
Okay, yeah.
So I get a lot of walking in, kind of incidental as well. And I found I've had to almost manufacture that a little bit as I've got older as well, I think. And I think if your listeners have got kids, they'll find that as well. So once they get to a certain age, like now my eldest, he's walking to school, right, by himself. And then my youngest, within the next couple of years, he's going to walk by himself. So that's an hour of walking I've lost, right, throughout the day. So I'm going to have to manufacture that and, make up for that and do that extra. And they're little things I'm thinking about as well. And just
what's the benefit of walking an hour a day?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be an hour, but just moving, right? So a lot of us have jobs now where we're sedentary, we're sitting a lot. You probably heard sitting's a new smoking and problems with digestion and blood flow and circulation, all that kind of stuff, diabetes. And so I think the more movement we can get throughout the day, the better, obviously. And we have to find ways to do that. And whether it be, like if you had to come down before to the lobby, I got there and the receptionist said, just take a seat and wait for Will. And I was thinking in my head, I'm not going to sit here. I'm just going to walk around and pay. So, and that's become a habit now. I had to think about that initially because I think we're like that in society. We're real sitters, right? So I've had that a few times lately where I've gone into appointments and said, okay, just take a seat there. And I've stood up deliberately, right? And doing calf raises and stuff just while I'm standing there. It sounds a bit obsessive, but I just got used to it. Same at the airports. I travel a lot for work and you see people at airports, knowing they're going to go on that plane and sit for hours, first thing they do, they get to the gate, sit, right? And then they know they're going to be sitting for hours after that. So I deliberately stand and I'll kind of walk a little bit around and try and move, right, throughout the day. Just keep as much movement as you can. You have to manufacture that, do so, but and then it'll become natural after a little while as well. Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a second because, I'd imagine most of my listeners they're over 40.
Yeah.
They're over 40. They have some sort of work or job where it will require them to sit down for lengthy periods of time.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like you say, you kind of have to start manufacturing these type of routines or habits where you're walking, where you're exercising, things like that. Well, so out of the clients that you are training right now, that you're helping, what do you reckon, 2 or 3 things that you ask them to implement straight away that has the biggest impact on their health?
Yeah. So walking specifically, I get them to walk after meals. So 10-minute walk after meals, if possible. It's not always practical, of course. 10-minute walk after meals, and that in itself has a lot of benefits. We won't go into all of them, but for blood sugar levels and things like that, can help regulate, and you feel better, right, by doing it. So I encourage your listeners to try that. So it doesn't have to be fast or anything, just a 10-minute walk after meals, and that can help with blood sugar control. So I'll get them to do that. That's one of the kind of pillars that I do. Water as well. So I get them to drink when they wake up. I start with 500 mils of water.
So 2 cups of water?
Yeah, and then building to a litre of water, actually. And that's what I do. That's another tip that I have.
Okay.
And I just find that sets up your hydration for the day really well. So, I've had my litre straight away, and then essentially after that, I'm almost just topping up, for the rest of the day.
But does your body retain that water that you drink?
Typically, if you do that in the middle of the day, probably no. There's a limit how much you can retain. But if you've been sleeping all night, no water, then it will take that in, kind of thing. That
okay.
Yeah, but
right. So basically, like it's like filling a tank, your car, filling your tank.
Yeah.
So you're just pumping your body full of water as soon as you wake up, because that's when your body needs it the most.
100%. And a lot of people mistaken, tiredness and headaches and dehydration. For dehydration, I should say. And you'll find if you try that trick, you'll feel so much better throughout the day. And because a lot of people wake up with headaches and feel tired, and sometimes it's just water that they're
it's just dehydration
lacking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's 2 things I definitely get them to do, and then mobility is the other one. And it's hard to get them to do this one. The adherence is questionable, but it's so important though. So, and again, I do it in the morning, first thing.
So what is mobility?
Yeah, so that's so it's flexibility, mobility, kind of similar, but mobility. What I'll do typically is more dynamic type stretches for that mobility, first thing in the morning, and then in saying that, that's with movement kind of thing, dynamic.
So what's a dynamic stretch?
So that's with movement. So instead of, for me, reaching for my toes kind of thing as a hamstring stretch, I might do leg swings where I swing my leg through kind of thing. So it's dynamic. I'm using movement. And I'll do that to prime the muscles before training, so simulate some of the movements I'll be doing in that session. But I've got a bit of a routine that I do myself.
Yep.
So there's a couple out there. There's the Agile 8 and the Limber 11. So I've done variations of that kind of thing. And that takes about 10 minutes in the mornings. So I get clients to try and do that as well. Really important, because most of my clients coming to me these days, especially as they're getting towards that 40 mark or over, they're coming asking about mobility first, actually. That's probably the first question I'm getting these days.
Why is that? Because they want... They've lost the mobility and
pain and joints.
Pain.
You'd be surprised how many people live with pain.
Back pain, knee pain.
Shoulders a big one.
Okay.
Everywhere. Back, knees, everything. So
how does doing that mobility help?
Yeah, so it helps, first of all, lubricate the joints, and you're taking the joints through a greater range of motion. So if you can kind of stretch and relax those muscles around each joint, obviously that joint's not working as hard kind of thing, and obviously strengthening those muscles around the joint as well. But yeah, so we'll get them, so a lot of lubrication in those joints. You're taking the joint through a full range of motion. Because if you think like an office worker, right, they'll sit in their chair, they'll sit in their car, they'll sit on the toilet, right? So that's pretty much, they're not squatting below 90 degrees, right? So a lot of people, and a lot of the mobility stuff will get you into a full squat. It'll take your shoulders through a full range of motion. Where again, our shoulders, we don't take them behind our back ever, right? As we get older, you're not really doing that movement, that shoulder extension. And so a lot of my mobility revolves around that as well. Obviously the back's important as well, but yeah, so I'll do that with clients. I try and get them to do that. Myself, I do that, and I'll do an additional static stretch at night. So before bed, I'll do kind of 20 minutes of stretching, going through the full body. I just work from the feet up, basically. So from the calves up, I should say. I'm probably hitting 30, 35 minutes of stretching kind of a day. But I'm not saying everyone should do that again, but I think it's a good place to start. You can get in, first thing in the morning is always a good starting point, I think.
So the mobility stretching, about 10 minutes in the morning.
I think, yeah,
As a
that's a
minimum.
good starting point. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So just like brushing your teeth, like you said. So I like to have these, I think of them as non-negotiables in the morning. So I've heard a quote where the first, I think it's 10 things you should be non-negotiable in the mornings. And so I've lent into that more so lately. So
Okay. So the three things are, what was the first one?
Yeah, so the steps and getting steps up, and particularly around meals if possible.
Yep. So 10 minutes. So 10 minutes of walking after meals.
Yep.
You get your 500 ml to a liter of water first thing after you wake up.
Yep.
And then do about 10 minutes as a minimum of mobility exercises and mobility stretching, dynamic stretching.
Yeah.
Okay. And you find out just by doing these three things, which actually doesn't take up a lot of time.
No.
When you think about it.
Well, the water's nothing. The mobility is 10 to 15 minutes.
Yep.
And then the steps, if you're doing the 10-minute walks, it could be 30 minutes a day, 20, 30 minutes a day kind of thing. So
And what impact have you seen from your clients just by adopting these three things?
Yeah, so big for a lot of people. Like a lot of the clients lately, my online coaching have been friends, and they've had old sporty injuries. So it's been a lot of shoulder pain, like I mentioned, and knees and back. And they've said their body's feeling a lot better already. And so a lot of them are only 3-4 weeks in at the moment. So I just launched the online kind of stuff, but they're feeling a lot better straight away.
Okay.
And I have older clients who, some of these mobility stretches are a bit harder, but I've got clients in their 70s, quite a few, and they still keep on keeping on. So they're still coming back. So that's a good sign.
Yeah.
And a little bit of pain here and there, but
So the mobility exercises really help with reducing pain. That's
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Who would have
really
thought?
Big. Yeah, that's right. So it's just being disciplined, and it's consistency. All this stuff I've talked about is consistency. You just have to keep doing it. I find with the mobility, it's a good point because consistency, people will start and they won't find that they're getting any more flexible. Say they give it a week or two and they're like, oh, I'm not really seeing any gains here. And they'll just give up. And it takes a long time. I know for myself to improve that flexibility, it took a long time. So you have to put in the time and just be consistent, do it every day.
But how can someone be consistent? I mean, because like everyone knows. I mean, to be honest, like to their core, everyone knows: eat less junk, move more, drink less alcohol, sleep more, drink more water. Everybody instinctively knows that's what they should do.
Yeah,
but most people don't do it.
Yes, I know.
Right,
it's hard.
And so, how do you coach your clients to stay consistent?
Yeah.
Like, what are some tips?
Yeah, so I think if you can tie a lot of these to other habits that you already have, such as it could be brushing your teeth in the morning, it could be waiting for the kettle to boil, waiting for the microwave, or waiting for the breakfast to cook, whatever it is. If you can tie it to habits like that and do them then, you're much more likely to get them done. So that's kind of called habit linking.
Okay.
And then sometimes just having a bit of an audit into their day and what they're actually doing and how much time they're spending on their phones and social media and stuff, because you'd be surprised, right? So
I think
2 hours on the phone a day, right?
2 hours a day on social media.
Yeah.
And we're probably like 5 hours a day.
I'm guilty as well, I know. But that's in itself, right? People complain they've got no time, and then you do a bit of an audit of their day.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, maybe you do.
Yeah, but people sometimes just feel, I'm too lazy. I'd rather sit on a couch and flicking through social media than getting up and doing some mobility exercises. So how do you do that? So linking the so you got habit linking.
Yeah.
And you're all doing audit for the day.
Yeah.
Is there any tips that people can use to stay consistent?
Yeah. Well, these days, I think with the advent of like apps and things like that, we can you can stay in touch a lot easier with clients. So a lot of my online coaching now using an app called Carnivorous, and that actually gets them. They earn a badge each time it sounds silly, but they earn a badge each time they do the mobility, and
nice.
People like that kind of stuff, right? And I think you get better adherence just from. I think apps have been good. Technology has been good in that way. But they're probably the main tips, and then you just hope for the best, I think, with the clients here.
Yeah, fair enough.
But so I think pretty good adherence actually with most of them so far.
Yeah. So that's good. Okay, well that's easy then. Walk after a meal, have your water, and do your mobility. I mean, those are your three core pillars. I think that's amazing.
And just be consistent with that. Yeah,
and be consistent with that, and you'll see results. I want to talk about sort of nutrition and diet a little bit, because I think that's a huge part of health in general. You are what you eat.
Yeah.
And there's, of late, there's been so many different diets out there. You see the keto diets, people talk about it, vegan diets, carnivorous diets, and, all these different weird stuff, that's been thrown out there. And some of them have been popularized, particularly the vegans sort of diet, through that Game Changer documentary with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it and all that. So, there's a huge movement towards, some of these sort of diets. In your opinion, are there any, I suppose, actual benefits to some of these? Like, let's say, like vegan. Like, I've got a mate who's vegan, and all he talks about is being a vegan. Nothing wrong with vegans.
They all do.
Nothing wrong with vegans. But you'll never take my meat away. but from a scientific and from a health perspective, are there any, truth to it? Because my understanding with the vegan diet is it's all plant-based, but there are several essential amino acids and proteins you cannot get from pure vegan diet. So how do people stay healthy, or can they stay healthy with a vegan diet?
I think they can, and everyone's different. So what works for one people doesn't work for the next. So you definitely can be healthy on these diets. Obviously, a vegan diet takes a lot more planning, right? So you're going to have to plan out when you get your essential amino acids and non-essentials and things like that. In the one meal, you have to balance and have a good mix of. And I think with protein, it's hard. So I'm probably qualified to talk about it because I did it for a little while there. I probably put 2 months in, and I felt really good initially. I lost a bit of weight as well. Felt really good. And then about week 5 or week 6, started getting like a lot of like bloating and gas kind of. And I think it was because I was trying to get in so much protein because I was losing weight. I was eating like bowls of lentils and things like that. And then the protein, the powder I got, I think it was a hemp powder. I tried the pea as well. That didn't agree. I tried the hemp. That didn't agree. So you have to really plan it out really well. And your protein requirements are going to be a bit higher as well, being a vegan, just because of the biodegradability of the actual protein source. So you're going to have to eat more protein, which is hard, right? So I think these days, I did that quite a while ago. I think now I'd have more success just because the powders have got better as well. The vegan powders, the protein powders, because it become more. But I think you can thrive on it.
For a long period of time?
Yeah, people do. You have to supplement mostly. People will supplement some of the B vitamins and stuff like that. But I think you probably can. It just takes a lot of planning and it's a lot of work. So probably not worth the trade-off. I don't think so. But so I actually did it because I have a high cholesterol, kind of a genetic condition, and that did bring it down. I must admit, the vegan is the only thing that's budged it so far. So it brought it down a little bit, but I just couldn't handle the gastrointestinal kind of distress, I suppose.
Yeah, fair enough. And would you do that again, sort of?
I'm going to start, putting it in. Whether I do it like one day of the week where I go vegan, or I do a week at a time, and I'm thinking about it. I probably have to. So I'm just on medication at the moment. I've started for the cholesterol problem, and see how that goes first, and then the second line of defense will be maybe a little bit of vegan diet, which I'm not looking forward to. But
fair enough. So. Well, let's go to the other extreme, which is the carnivorous diet.
Yeah.
And that's obviously been quite popularized lately as well. I mean, there are some really famous influencers talking about the carnivorous diets. Guys like Joe Rogan, who's tried it, really talks it up. Michaela Peterson, like she's been on it because she's got all these sort of
Jordan
Peterson's been on it, and she's had arthritis since she was a kid and all that stuff. And she said like this is like the only diet that's worked for her. And there's the carnivorous doctor on Instagram, Paul, forgot his last name.
Saladino,
that's it. Like he talks,
Dr. Sean Baker.
That's it. They all talk about it, right? So we're obviously going to an extreme from the vegan diet now to the carnivorous diet, and I've seen a lot, and I've tried both. Sorry, I haven't tried a vegan diet, but I've tried a low carb, low meat diet. don't talk about that. But I've definitely tried a carnivorous diet.
Oh, you have? Yeah,
I have.
okay.
I tried it for a week, and then I lost because because I had some parties, birthday parties to attend to. But I felt really good.
You did? Yeah.
I did. I felt really good. I felt less bloated.
Yeah.
I didn't feel hungry at all. I felt my energy level being really consistent, and I had a lot of mental clarity. I had no brain fog.
Is that right? Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. What were you eating? Were you having any of the organ meats, or was it just pure steak, muscle meat, or?
Yeah, day one. I started with just Scotch fillet.
Yeah.
Three steaks a day.
Yeah.
That's all I did, and then later on, and the next day I started having a bit of chicken breast. I added that as well, chicken breast and the steak, and then the third day I added bit of salmon. So I decided I need some more fats in it. In my diet, so I added some salmon in it, but I was still having red meat as my core.
Yeah,
and then I started supplementing with just bone broth.
Yep. Yeah,
with it. Yeah. And so I felt really good, except I think probably day 3 or so, I started getting the keto flu, right? Like headaches and things like that.
Yes.
So I just started going hardcore with my salts.
Yes. Yeah.
But I felt really good, and I felt like I lost, I don't know if I actually lost 2 kilos, but I was definitely less bloated.
Fluid,
and all that. But again, I think with some of these, it just wasn't sustainable for me long term.
Yeah.
So I don't think I did it long enough to see the full benefits of it. But at least the week that I did it, I felt pretty good at.
Yeah.
So what are your views?
Yeah, it's probably the only diet I haven't done, to be honest.
Okay.
Literally, like the only diet I haven't tried. Again, I was a little bit worried because a lot of research, you talk about your veggies, how good they are for you and things like that. And I was worried about not going to the toilet too for a week. So
that happens.
Is that
too. That happens too.
So I was worried about that as well. But from what I've read, I was just listening to a podcast on the way here actually about it. I think it works, especially these people like you mentioned, Jordan Peterson. Michaela Peterson. As a real elimination diet. So if you've got autoimmune conditions and things like that, basically you're cutting out all food groups. And a lot of us, I think we feel better because I think our guts are a little bit messed up, from whatever it is, pollution, environment, chemicals in foods and whatever it is, the way we eat and things like that, processed food. So I think a lot of us do have that kind of disbalance, in the body and the gut bacteria. And I think by eliminating everything and just having the meat, a lot of people do feel better on that. I'm not sure on the long-term evidence. So it hasn't been around. And that's Sean Baker, but he's been doing it for 7-8 years.
Yeah, long time. Yeah.
He's thriving. Like he sets records on the ski, on the rower, on the erg and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he's thriving. Again, N equals 1 though. And then other people have tried it and gone off it because they couldn't handle, like yourself and things like that. And socially, it's hard if you're going out.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
I think, again, it can work for some people. I just don't know the long term. I don't think there's been any studies that have been done for that long and randomized controlled trials and stuff that have been. It's hard to randomize someone into doing a carnivore diet, right? Over 10 years or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know if the studies are there yet. But people thrive on it as well. People, there's a lot of people there who've been doing it for years and years, and they get their blood markers back and they're all fine. So I think diet's so individual. You have to play around and see what works for you. I think
that's a good point.
Yeah, I've lent towards less veggies actually. I must admit these days since that kind of carnivore, all the talk about that came out. I just took some veggies out, and again, probably felt a little bit less bloated after meals and things like that. Probably felt better for it, to be honest. So I'm still having enough, more probably than an average person, but I've just taken a little bit out and replace that with protein actually, and probably feel better. So that's another thing I'll try and get just back onto what I will get clients to do personally. Protein, really important. So I'll try and get that to 2 grams of body weight per day. So if you're weighing 70 kilos, that's 140 grams of protein per day. For your listeners who don't know what that looks like, so chicken breast might have between 30 to 40 grams of protein. So we're asking you to have, so if you're 70 kilos, you might have 140 grams or whatever your weight is, kind of double it. And that's what I'm trying to get clients to hit first. I just find that sets the whole diet up. So it crowds out all the other stuff, all the carbs and the fats. You feel fuller, definitely, throughout the day, satiated. You're not even craving sweets and stuff like that because you're just walking around, you're quite full all day, right? And then I'll get them to organise their carbs and their fats around personal preferences, whatever ratio they want to work with that in. But as long as they get that protein in first, and through good sources, of course.
Yeah.
But so that's another tip as well with clients. And really hard though to get them. It's hard to get in that amount of protein when you first. Most people don't realise. So that's another one.
That's 4 chicken breasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roughly. Yeah. In a
That's
day.
quite a lot. That's quite a lot.
It's quite a lot.
If you're having 3 meals, if you're having 2 meals, that's 2 chicken breasts per meal.
So there's tricks, right? So I'll get clients to have more, like if they're struggling to have mince and stuff like that, which is easier to eat as well, easier to digest. So there's and protein powder is a last resort kind of thing as well.
Yep.
But I don't lean on that too heavily either. So
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. Well, you shared so much insight, Matt, and really intrigued to hear about your routine, your workout and all that type of stuff. That's amazing. So where can people find you?
Yeah, so Instagram, I've just set up now. So it's 40_functional on Instagram.
Yep.
And then Facebook is just Matthew Pendleton on there. They're probably the 2 main ones. And then you can have a look at some of the stuff, DM me. You can book in for a call if you need. But go on there, have a look at some of the stuff I'm putting out, and hope you enjoy some of the content I'm putting on there as well. So
yeah, I'm definitely am. Yeah, amazing.
And your listeners as well. Yeah. No, thanks, Will. Thanks for having me. And
thanks, Matt.
thanks a lot.
Yeah, no problems.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot.